Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the WECG World Esports Championship Games for StarCraft 2. Did you miss us? Because I missed you guys.
You know, the fact that we only cast 2 times a week is actually kind of sad. You know, I love being down here at the arena casting with you, Wolf, and we're finally back here again on Monday. Of course, the schedule for this is Monday, Tuesday at this time, exactly 6 o'clock. So tell your friends if they're not watching.
Tell your friends to get in here. We've got some really, really sick ZVT coming up here with Dark versus TY in our first match. And today we are doing our quarterfinals. So we are going into the round of 8. We've got 2 round of 8 matches today. And then, of course, we'll be rounding that out tomorrow. So settling up the round of 4. And it should be for some really good matches, some really good best of 5s here.
Yeah, when you look at these 2 best of 5s, you know, like you said, Dark and TY, we also got Super and Stats of KT. So 2 very, very solid games. I'm really looking forward to, for me personally, I want to see how Super does again here today in the PvP later on.
That's what I'm looking forward to as well, because he came out of the Protoss group. He appeared to be the weakest player, but still was able to win in the late game by just making his opponents play a weird game. He really got into their heads a little bit. And there's been a ton of games to study of him as well, because he was in that same Protoss group. So looking at him, he's got all the odds stacked against him again, but I think he might be able to pull it off today.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And then taking a look at our other best of 5, you know, Dark and TY, one of the most, you know, 2 of the most solid players for their races, respectively. Especially, you know, TY, one of the Terran hopes here in Korea. A lot of people pulling for him, especially the Terrans. They want him to move on, possibly advance and, you know, go to China. That would be the best for them.
Of course. And, you know, there's a lot of talk these days, a lot of Terrans doing well. Bomber, spoiler alert, just earlier today, doing very well in WCS America, taking the entire thing, winning against another Terran, actually, if you will. So Terran's doing pretty well overseas especially, but in Korea, you know, not as many of them left here. So we're going to see how well TY can do here in this first series. But before we get into that, we'll take a look at our bracket. So you can see we just talked about today's matches quite extensively. We didn't talk too much about stats, but we'll leave that for later. Then, of course, the matches for next, you know, the next day of this, tomorrow, Sora versus Zest. Oh my God! And then Hero versus Byung. Today's matches are good, but I feel like tomorrow's matches really take the cake.
Oh yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one. I mean, looking at both of those, Sora, you know, he's just kind of coming through here in the Dark Horse, kind of the owner of this tournament, if you will. He really made his name here. He's going up against a huge name in Zest, and then Hero versus Byung. That's literally one of the top PvTs you can have in the world.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, that's incredible, those 2 players right there. And I'm really looking forward to see how well Byung does against Hero in particular, but also to see if Sora can actually make it through again here, and if Zest is going to stop him, because he is, of course, after all, the Kingslayer, and Sora, this being basically his tournament, is where he got his name. See if he can stop him. He didn't end up winning, of course, last season. That was Sulky who did that, who actually did not advance from the round of 16, actually dropped out, surprising a lot of people. But, you know, he's been going through a lot of team changes and, you know, life events, so you can imagine he's having a rough time right now.
Yeah, I think we just got to give him a bit more time. As long as he keeps playing here in StarCraft 2, I'm sure he'll be back to his final full form. Just give him a month or so, I'd say. He'll be back.
Yeah, that he will.
No need to worry.
No need to worry. So, as you can see, of course, we'll have some matches next week to decide the finals of everything that's sorted out. We didn't really talk about scheduling too much, but you guys could probably figure out, even if you can't read Hangul, which I recommend you learn up there, that
yes,
that's what the schedule was back there. So, anyways, moving away from that, we've got Dark versus TY first up, and this is going to be first to 3 wins out of 5, best of 3, or rather, excuse me, best of 5, first of 3, whatever you want to call it. The Korean at the top there is throwing me off, but then, of course, we're going to have Super versus Stats to round the night off, and that Protoss versus Protoss there are going to be a pretty fiery one, I feel, because we've been seeing a lot of action, a lot of aggression out of Super, and Stats might not really be able to get to that comfortable late game that he'd like to.
Yeah, definitely. Really looking to see how aggressive that one's going to be. I'm also looking to see how aggressive TY is going to be against Dark. You know, I feel like TY, his biggest strength here is his mid-game aggression, and as long as he can put some onto Dark, I feel like he may have a chance, but we'll have to see.
That we will. I actually highly favor Dark going into this. I think he might take a 3-1 or a 3-0. I think he's got some of the best ZBT out there. He's really aggressive. He knows when to, when to attack, when to hit that third base. His Mutalisk play is really strong as well. I mean, he doesn't really branch out with his style too much. I feel like he's kind of just gone with the standard. He's taken what he's learned from his former teammate Sulky, for example, and really applied that to this newer, a little bit faster style. You can almost really say he's kind of like life. He just likes to be aggressive, but he's just really consistent, and that's what's really important about his style, and that's why I think he's going to pull an edge out here.
And that's the hardest kind of player to practice against. Someone who's just consistently good almost every time he comes out. You can look at his style and be like, okay, I'm going to practice this way, but even when you practice against his style, it's still hard to win. And looking at this guy, I said he may have a chance, but I do side with you on this one as well. I feel like Dark definitely has the better chance here. But TY, looking at how he got here, he defeated Myungshik, lost to Hero in the winner's match, then defeated Myungshik once again. That last game was actually insane.
Yep.
Going up against Perdos there, Myungshik doing like a 10-minute push with Immortals.
Well, let's take a look at our bans here. We have a Nimbus ban from Dark. Makes sense to me, but would have expected a Catalina ban. The Nimbus ban is a ban that's really good against drop play on this map versus Terran because that backdoor expansion is so exposed. It's really easy to ping-pong around with those medevacs. And TY decides to ban Overgrowth, which is pretty interesting to me too. I think it almost just kind of shows further that Dark takes that refined Sulky-esque style and adds a little bit of a life spin to it, a little bit more aggression, so he doesn't want to have to deal with that third base that might be under fire, or maybe potentially a fourth base on Overgrowth on that really small map when you might be counterattacked often. Mulist always a threat, so you can see that.
And then going into the picks, you see Dark first picks King Sejong Station. They're not a huge surprise. Zergs definitely love to play on that map. But then TY going with Deadwing and Catalina there. I see the Catalina pick. I like it, but Deadwing, a little bit interesting to me. It's a really big map. It's going to be hard for him to put on the aggression.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm glad that's going to be map 3 because we're going to see it no matter what. And is it the fourth map? Or was that the third map?
Deadwing?
Yeah.
That's number 2.
Oh, number 2. Okay, well, regardless, it's before map 3. 3 was the Catalina pick. That's right. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be map 2. So we're going to see it no matter what. I really want to see what he's going to do on that map because if you get close spawns, it's kind of like Overgrowth. So why'd you ban Overgrowth? And if you get cross spawns, you're going for a late game against Dark, which is...
Yeah, it's kind of like Foxtrot Labs, which you didn't pick. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's jump into KSS for game number 1 here, the round of 8.
Up here in the top left in the red, the Zerg player we have here today, it is Dark.
And down the bottom right in blue, it's TY, formerly known as Baby from KT Rolster.
Not a baby anymore. He's
Not
all
a baby
grown
anymore.
up. He's a big boy Terran now.
That's right. So notable about this match is that this is, of course, one of our little telecom derbies, one of our rival matches. We've got SK2 versus KT, that iconic matchup. So it always leaves a little bit of extra fun to going into a big best-of-5 series like this, just that rivalry between the two teams on top of what's on the line here, moving on to the round of 4.
Yeah. TY in the derby that they had in the finals of Pro League, he was one of the big heroes for them, doing a crazy proxy on Frost against, I think it was Classic, right?
Yeah.
Crazy game that one was, really bringing it through there for KT. I'm sure Dark's got that in the back of his mind.
Right away here, we see something really interesting. TY is going to go for, it looks like a command center first, based on how he's queued up his SCVs. So we're going to see a really fast expand out of him. And Dark is going to come over here, and he's going to see that right away. He may initially get a little bit stressed out, a little bit concerned that it's a double barracks proxy, but seeing this SCV should be enough of a tell. And in fact, he may even block this temporarily. Even a second SCV has to come out, and now he's going to go ahead and drop that down there. But he is going to need 2 SCVs to build this, which is very annoying.
Yeah. Guess you just wanted to go in and check the gas instead of just going straight down there for the block, just to be a bit safer, just to make 100% sure that no aggression was coming out here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because a proxy Reaper on this map is quite strong. We've seen it before, and you definitely need to be aware of that.
Yeah. And for Dark, he's got down his first expansion, and going against a CC first Terran, may want to throw down that third one.
So down goes the spawning pool, and let's take some deeper thoughts about TY's build here, because he's chosen, for example, he banned Overgrowth and picked Deadwing. He really wants to play the macro games here against Dark, it looks like, and that's not what I would have expected from TY. Yeah. It's not really his style. But against Dark, I feel like it kind of makes sense, because Dark is a very aggressive player, and if you're confident enough in holding, which, I mean, who would not be confident in TY's hold after he held a Myungshik's build that we saw last week? I mean, if you're really confident in holding against a Zerg player who might put on some early aggression, then you can get that economic edge. And then maybe, you know, TY's late game in this matchup right now, he's feeling good about it, and that's how he wants to play this series.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I mean, we've seen time and time again how good this kid is at holding off any type of aggression at any point in the game. Seems like he will want to go for that macro.
Yeah. I mean, especially against Protoss. He's made quite famous for that in StarCraft 2 because he was the only Terran player to actually defeat Blink all-ins at first, at the very beginning of Pro League. And he did it the first time, if I'm not mistaken, with a sensor tower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that game.
That was on Yunsu, if I'm not mistaken, so a long time ago.
So. TY here, not going for the double barracks build, just going straight for just the one barracks into a factory. So wants to tech up a bit faster here. Doesn't really want to get those infantry units out too fast.
And, you know, at this point, I mean, it's just this slow ramp up for both of these two players. The speed is coming up here pretty quickly, and he's going to be able to control the map, the ground for that for a while, especially because the Hellions come out so late, like you're saying. When you go for a CC first, obviously the factory comes up a bit later, and a nice rescue mission there with those two Marines to save the SCV. But in a moment here, okay, we're going to see a third CC. I was going to say, TY, it looks like he's poised to get that. He went over and checked to see if there were any Zerglings on the map. He sees there's quite a few lurking around. He definitely can't afford to make that on the low ground. That's way too risky, but he is playing this really greedy. And I guess he's going to get away with it for now. Let's see what Dark decides to do. Finding out about this CC is not going to be too difficult for him. He's got an Overlord right in position below it.
Yeah, I think he's going to check that pretty soon there. And you know, he does have that Zergling speed. He did open up that path for him. If he wants to go for a big Zergling attack, he can. You know, but I feel like on this map, the more common aggression is breaking down those backdoor rocks with the Roaches and possibly going for a Roach with Ling follow-up.
Yeah, and look at that. There's the Roach Warren, just as you're saying that. But he needs to get some more information. He still doesn't know about that CC. We're seeing gases being added right now. And this Roach Warren may just be, you know, somewhat of a safety measure. But it is pretty early against someone who went CC first. He knows Hellbats aren't coming his way anytime soon. Gonna need an armory for that. That's a long ways away. He only has 2 Hellions on the map right now.
Yeah. Look at this. He's making 5 Overlords. You know, he was just supply blocked, so maybe he did just panic and make a bunch of Overlords. But looking at the Lings coming out here as well, with that Roach Warren coming out here, he may just try to put on some aggression. There's a Baneling Nest on the way as well.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money. It is possible that the Overlord just moved slightly and already saw this, and we're just not being shown this by the observer. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think the Overlord saw, but it's a good read on already what TY has shown in his map picks and bans, as well as just how he's opened up with a CC first. It's pretty reasonable to expect he might do something like this. Now, let's see how much damage this Roach Warren and these Roaches and Banelings get done, because it's a huge commitment. I mean, notice how late even the third hatchery was here for Dark. He got those gases up at his natural right away. I mean, the third CC was done before the third hatchery. That very rarely ever happens.
Yep. This is a nice scout over here by TY. It looks like he may just go in the back and look for possible Overlords, but he could also look for those rocks. Well, it doesn't even look like Dark wants to use the rocks with the Roaches. He's just going to go straight down the middle here. Maybe follow up from the left side with the Zerglings.
He wants to hit right away. Now let's see how good TY is at holding this. He's already got a bunker started at home and his first Marauder. Second bunker, that is to say. And he wants to buy as much time as possible with these Hellions. Meanwhile, he's doing a drop with a few Marines and Widow Mines. That could do a lot of damage, but 18 Banelings on the way. This is a mostly Baneling attack, not even that many Roaches. And I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this. He needs siege tanks, and he just doesn't have anything like it.
Yep, it's going to be a really hard hold, but at the same time, Dark's got to deal with this in his main base. He's putting down a Spore Crawler right now, but he's got to get units back there. But in the meantime, he's going to attack the front. There's only Hellions here to defend this, and maybe a Marauder or two.
Yep, he's going to have to kite these Banelings basically perfectly. Oh, and he messed it up right there, taking a big hit. 1 or 2 more hits would be great. The Banelings need to choose what they're going to do here. They're actually all lining up, but the wall is down now. The Hellions not the best splitting there, and here come the Roaches. Yeah. This is a big problem.
Big hit on a lot of Hellions there. There's only 3 remaining right now, and there's a huge number of Roaches coming in here. Bunkers are being desperately thrown down right now, but they're not complete. There's no units to even go in the bunkers. He's fighting with his SCVs.
He's got 2 Marines out on the map, 3 now, if that third one gets in. And he even canceled the Banelings right here in front of the bunker, but this is just a problem of his production facilities are being capped. Stim gets canceled here, and now the Roaches here can't even, I mean, they can't even be deflected by these Banshees. There's too many of them. More Banelings are morphing in right now, and those SCVs need to get out of there. Things are going to get pretty nasty. And I think this is almost certainly going to be game. He's got a lot of extra harvesters because of that third CC, and in fact, he's still ahead in worker count, but I just don't think this one Banshee, I don't think she's going to be able to prolong this game much longer.
Yep, she's going to try her best. A big repair here, but not that much surface area for the SUVs based on the positioning. And now trying to put down more bunkers. I'm sorry, TY, it just doesn't look like it's going to work for you here.
Well, let's see. I mean, if he can hold off these early miraculously, no, it's just not, no. I mean, he's got triple mules, but it doesn't matter if you have triple mules in this case. I mean, it usually does, but not this time.
He's going to try to hold it. I mean, he's running around the SUVs, trying to repair.
He's targeting Banelings decently well. Those Marines are not going to split out in time.
His natural is not mining. His main is not mining. He has to lift his natural CC here. Meanwhile, Dark back at home, he has 3 hatcheries totally safe here. He held off that drop as well.
He's checking for a lair there, and smartly Dark has made his lair not even at his main. I'm not sure if it's at his natural. Okay, it is at his natural. So he's like, what are you doing next? Because I lived, and I do have triple mules. What's the next step here? Are you going into mutas? Are you just going to try to kill me? And it's unfortunate he misses that scan, because I think it is going to be a mutalist follow-up here, but he does have double Evo chambers on the way. And, I mean, he's got to start repairing these.
Which is really hard because he just now got his mining back. You know, he does have those 5 mules with the 3 orbitals, of course. He does have triple CC production here with the SCVs. So he does have that, but even just looking at the worker count right now, 58 to 27. After that attack, Dark was really just able to power up here on the drones, and he's now going to make that switch into the Mutalist. He also has the Baneling speed on the way, upgrades for Zerglings and Banelings.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how much Banshee damage gets done here. That's one way you could try to crawl back into this. His stim is, you know, 2/3 of the way done nearly. Back at home, he did restart that. This Queen is not... Oh!
Transfuse comes down.
Good bait there, actually.
Yeah, Banshee almost goes down as well.
Look at that spawning pool placement, by the way. Really nicely done there for a tight wall against possible Hellion drops and whatnot. Just want to point that out. Macro Hatch goes down because he's going to need a lot of larvae here in a second to make the links with his Banes and his Mutas. And his drone counts up to 68 now. He's got all the gases going up here. He's got the 5th and 6th finishing up right now. The Spire's almost on. He's going to be able to make about 6 to 8 Mutas right when that finishes. He's going to have Baneling speed, and he's soon to have 1/1 upgrades. So let's see how much damage TY can get done, because he survives. And any Terran who survives with 3 CCs, 3 orbitals, usually has a fighting chance at least.
Yeah, has a chance. That is one thing you can say. One thing I'm looking at here right now, we do see Dark putting down double hatcheries here. One is that macro hatch, but he was supply blocked at 94 for like a minute. Yeah. And now he's like, oh no, I can't make any of my mutas. The mutas are going to be a lot later than he wanted them, because now he's got to make 4 overlords first. And if TY decides to put on aggression, it's going to be very hard based on the position he's in, of course.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not going to matter too much here, but still delaying the mutas coming out.
Yeah, that's a really good observation, because that is huge. That changes everything. He can only make 6 mutas now, and in fact he was supply blocked again after he made 4 overlords because he just was overflowing with production. Now he's finally got a bit of extra supply he can use here to produce units. There are only a few mutalists out on the map, 7 right now. He starts 2/2 upgrades. He's not actually going to try to do anything big or flashy with these mutas anymore, because he just really can't, but he can shut down these drops, he can shut down these Banshees, and he's got a 4th base coming up right here. He's got that macro hatch that you mentioned earlier, so he's got a ton of production, and TY has crawled himself back into this game, but I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to get done here. The creep spread is superb. It's spread all the way down past the 4th base. He's got 2 arcs and even a little pinky finger up to the north coming across, so he's pretty much going in every direction here.
Yeah, Dark's really powering up here. We do see TY trying to put on the aggression, but look at how puny that army is right now. He's got a decent ball of Marines. There's 2 Marauders for the Banelings, but now the mutas are coming in. He's got the creep here spread, like you did say, and more Banelings on the way, a ton of Lings as well. I think he should be able to hold this off just fine with 80 drones. Yeah. Like, look at that.
No, it's a pretty it's a pretty tough place to be right now for TY. But you know, he doesn't actually get too aggressive. He doesn't make a mistake. He doesn't fight on creep against these Banelings of speed. He actually salvages his units here, and actually saves that medevac too. The creep spread is getting stronger and stronger. He's not able to really push on that, but he keeps his army strong. And I think what's key here is to just try to make sure any engagement he takes is absolutely good for TY, because if he takes a poor one, then it's going to be all over.
Oh, look at that. Banelings only sending a little bit of his Banelings forward to get some of those Widow Mines, and look at this. Huge ball of Zerg. TY's just flying away. He's like, no, I want none of that. And for TY now, he's just got to go home. He's got to defend against this now.
A big, massive swarm of Overlords goes to the bottom left. Nothing too important with that right now, but it's a lot of supply over there.
Yeah.
Bit of a miscontrol here by Dark. He's got to be careful with this, because you give TY a little bit of an edge, and he's gonna take it, man. He's just gonna keep pushing with it. Third base is fully saturated, fully gassed up for him now. He's got 60 harvesters nearly here at 59, and he has a very healthy medevac count. His 2-2 is about to finish. Here come those Mutalisks, though. Let's see if he's prepared. One turret only. That's not going to be enough.
He's going to put down the repair here, but there are enough Mutas, and they're going to start wreaking havoc on that mineral line. He's going to have to move his whole army over here. And in the meantime, he gets a little bit out of position here. Total surround. GG's immediately. Even the apostrophe in there. Quickest GG ever. Just trying to get us out of that game as fast as possible.
Yeah. That was a really cool hard engage on the CC too. I really like that. A lot of Zerg players would have just kind of bounced around and gone for the depots, but he was like, no, I'm actually going to get your CC. You better turn around right now. And he knew that army was in a place where it was kind of boxed up behind the minerals. He would have to make a tough choice to lift. Let me point this out. He would have had to lift into the medevacs to save that army and fly towards the CC, which is being attacked by Mutalisks, where the Mutalisks could have easily cleaned up the medevacs. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he tries to lift to the side, he has to go too far. The Lynx are just going to get to